We'll call the order the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Please note that a copy of the Open Meetings Act is located on the north wall of the Legislative Chamber alongside an automatic external defibrillator. Please stand for the pledge. We will start with the Douglas County Board of Equalization. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson. Commissioner Kavanaugh is absent at the moment. Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend.
Here.
Commissioner Morgan.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Here. First item of business are items A and B. A being the approval of the minutes of the Board of Equalization meeting held Tuesday, March 11th, 2025, and B being a call for a meeting and set Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 as date for hearing on certified assessment corrections reflecting the addition of omitted property to the tax rolls or increased value on property. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion by Morgan, second by Rogers. Please vote.
Okay, thank you. Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. We'll jump into our resolutions. Resolutions C through H for Board of Equalization. The motion could include adjournments.
Second.
Motion to approve all resolutions plus adjourn equalization. Motion by Rogers, second by Morgan. Was anybody here to discuss any of the resolutions for equalization? If not, we'll vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. That concludes equalization. We'll jump into Douglas County Board of Corrections. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Borgeson. Commissioner Kavanaugh is absent at the moment. Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend.
Here.
Commissioner Morgan.
Here.
Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Here. First item of business is the approval of the minutes of the Board of Corrections meeting held Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Motion by Morgan, second by Rogers. Please vote.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. We'll go now to the report from the Director of Corrections. Director Myers.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Michael Myers, Director of Corrections for Douglas County. You should have before you my report for the month of February. Turning to enclosure number 1, Administrative Services and Personnel. After the 8th month of the fiscal year, we are a little over $1 million under budget, thankfully. There are some funds earmarked for projects, however, which have not been expended yet. There was $183,979 spent on overtime costs. That's a decrease of approximately $55,000 from the previous month. Just shy of $800,000 of bond payments were processed by our records division. 4 officers below the rank of sergeant left employment in February. 6 officers were promoted from CO1 to CO2. And as of February 28th, we were 101% staffed among all correctional officers. Pardon me. A class of 19 cadets graduated our academy on February 22nd. And I want to congratulate Sarah Legler, who was promoted to the rank of sergeant in February. Enclosure number 2, Community Corrections and Reentry Services. The Sanction Center and Transitional Discharge Center placed a total of 12 individuals in community corrections, saving 67 bed days in the jail. Work release admitted 19 individuals. House arrest admitted 53. The Reentry Assistance Program, or RAP, admitted, sorry, I turned the page, 21. In reentry services and therapeutic communities in the jail, there were 64 individuals admitted to therapeutic community housing units. There are currently 113 individuals on the GED wait list with 75 active students. 6 individuals achieved a GED. 20 individuals were referred to intensive outpatient treatment, or IOP. And 22 individuals received substance use disorder evaluations. In pretrial services, there were 250 individuals placed on pretrial release. Over the course of the month, 1,257 individuals were supervised. 529 of them participated in the 24/7 sobriety program. 187 of them were supervised via GPS monitors, saving a little over 4,000 bed days, 4,022 to be exact. Pretrial release theoretically saved Douglas County $673,740 in detention-related costs. Pretrial services staff are working with a new vendor for pretrial release software. We hope to have that software launched in the next few months in order to provide more detailed data regarding several aspects of this program. Enclosure number 3, compliance. Regular reporting of all compliance-related data continues. The next audit we will participate in will be conducted by the National Commission on Correctional Health Care, which will occur sometime in the second half of 2025. Enclosure number 4, population. There were 1,201 admissions, and there were 1,264 releases. Our high count was 1,055. Our low count was 980. Our average population was 1,017, a very modest increase of 4 from the previous month. Our average length of stay the overall average length of stay was 31 days. 52% of inmates stayed longer than 72 hours, and their average length of stay was 58 days. 48% of inmates were released within 72 hours of being booked, and their average length of stay was 1.4 days. There are 98 custodial sanction bed days. The U.S. Marshal population remains stable. The average daily pre-trial population was 712. The average daily misdemeanor population was 123. Probation violations increased. 19% of our population were between the ages of 18 and 24. And I wanted to point out we are on the cusp of opening up a special program for that age group in the jail. It should be up and running sometime in April, and I'll give you a more detailed report on that program in my subsequent report. 65% of our population were minorities. 16% of our population were female, and 19% of our population were homeless or nearly homeless. Enclosure number 5, medical and mental health. There were 953 intake screenings. There were 321 health and physical assessments. 18 individuals were transported for emergent medical care. 8 of those were by 911. There were also 8 hospital admissions. Those 8 admissions totaled 34 days of combined hospitalization. There were 18 off-site specialty appointments. There were 122 initial psychiatric assessments. There was 306 initial mental health assessments. 89 individuals were placed on suicide precautions. 191 individuals were placed on drug and alcohol detox protocols. There were 2 individuals approved by the Board of Mental Health. 9 individuals were on the Lincoln Regional Center wait list, and there were 6 individuals currently housed at the Lincoln Regional Center. Turning to enclosure number 6, security operations in our honor guard. Our crisis negotiation team conducted training exercises based on real-life scenarios to improve skill of rapport building with individuals in crisis. The C&T team was deployed 14 times during February. Issues addressed included working with several mentally ill individuals who had been refusing basic hygiene to take showers, negotiating with an individual who was refusing to be transferred to another facility, and working with an individual who was refusing to attend court. Several of these deployments were in conjunction with our CERT team. And our CERT team, Correctional Emergency Response Team, they had training on a review of our use of force policy, cell extractions, and self-defense tactics. The CERT team was deployed 16 times in February. Many of those were in conjunction with CNT. Many of those deployments required no physical force, and the remaining were completed with minimal force and no significant injuries. There were 15 area searches conducted in February. Minor contraband included items that were modified for tattooing and altered wristbands, jail-made dice, and nuisance items such as extra linens. Significant contraband included Cash App information. We did find a powdery substance and discolored papers that may have been laced with K2. Our Honor Guard was deployed once in February. We participated in the services for fallen State Trooper Kyle McCasey. Enclosure number 7, staff development, wellness, and retention. 25 individuals were interviewed for correctional officer positions. 73 applications were received. 19 new officers graduated from the academy on February 21st and subsequently completed 3 weeks of field training. Interviews are ongoing in order to build the April Academy class. We implemented a new wellness and peer support app, which is available for free for all of our staff members as well as their families. The peer support team added 16 additional members who completed 3 days of training in February. 17 staff members utilized the Wellness and Retention Office, and 4 members were referred to external resources for additional support. And I'm going to finish with an emerging concern that I have, not just for the Douglas County Department of Corrections, but for this profession as a whole, and that's fentanyl. We have added a security checkpoint to conduct random searches of all staff, contractors, and volunteers in order to do all we can to prevent potentially dangerous substances from entering the facility. This supplements our already in use body scanners, strip searches of all inmates upon booking, the use of drug detecting dogs, and frequent area searches that we conduct to act as a deterrent and attempt to intercept any contraband that may have been introduced. Fentanyl is a paradigm shifter for correctional facilities across the country. The level of lethality is unprecedented when compared to other illicit substances, and fentanyl is present in our community. The lethal dose of fentanyl is between the equivalent of 10 to 20 grains of salt, much less than you might find on a single French fry. In fact, one order of large fries from McDonald's contains 20,000 grains of salt. This small amount required to be potentially deadly makes it much harder to detect. We have saved several lives since we placed Narcan on the duty belt of every staff member. Often these life-saving efforts take place shortly after someone has been booked, when they presumably have ingested the drug in order to prevent its discovery during the arrest process. And Commissioners, despite these efforts, there may come a day when we are unable to prevent a fentanyl overdose that results in a bad outcome. However, we will do everything we can to keep those who are in our custody, our staff, and all others who pass through our facility safe. With that, I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you, Director Myers. We'll go into discussion, starting with Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thank you. Thank you for this. One thing that has occurred to me in discussions with you and folks at Corrections is when we do this staffing outline, and again, kudos for the 101% on-hand staff, particularly in the CO categories, which are all 100 or 102. We don't have a category where we do vacation, comp use, sick leave, FMLA, light duty, work comp, unless I'm missing something
So-
that indicates out of service. So you have pretty robust training courses and, you know, people that are doing different things that are not in service, but they're working. They're just not doing the.
They're not
in-service
manning a
stuff.
post.
Is that reflected here, or could there
So-
be another category added?
So the training, I don't think we capture. In the subsequent pages, it's captured graphically, page 8 of 51 and 9. 8 and 9 go on what we call exception time. And exception time is anybody who's not at a post. With the exception, I don't think that we separate out their training hours from that. But you can see vacation, comp, sick leave, FMLA, and work comp and light duty are also captured.
Right,
Even
but,
though
you
those,
know, if I'm taking vacation or comp or sick leave or FMLA, I'm not in the building.
correct.
But, you know, light duty, I don't know if I'm training, am I counted in the light duty, or do we
So-
need to maybe refine that just a bit to
Yeah,
reflect?
I'll see if we can capture the training and add that
Okay.
into here.
And again, kudos on the low average daily population of 1,017 with a low of 980. I haven't seen that number like 980 in a while, but that's a super low number. Average length of stay of 31 days, but if you break that population out, it's really dramatically different between the felony pretrial population and the misdemeanor pretrial population. We have 712 average daily population of pretrial felony holds and 123 misdemeanors. So we're holding people for felony overwhelmingly, 70%.
Yeah, that's correct.
Minority, majority remains about the same at 65. Again, troubling, but beyond our control, so I appreciate that. The homeless at 19, it'd be interesting maybe to track that over time. My remembrance of having, you know, represented some of these folks was in wintertime, that homeless figure goes up. I mean, literally, it's sad but true. Homeless people seek shelter in the correction center sometimes. Do you find that? Is there a fluctuation seasonally?
You know, a little bit, but it stays pretty. I'm trying to, Commissioner, actually, in enclosure 4, there should be, I don't know. Okay, on page 41, the bottom graph shows the both the whole number and the percentage. It stays right around that 18 to 21%, pretty intrinsically.
20% drug and alcohol detox protocol, that's coming in, right?
These are individuals that are
It shows 191.
correct. Yep,
So those are people who are entering and they're in bad shape.
correct.
Of those 191, well, I'll come back.
Thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Fahey.
Director Myers, thank you. Regarding your addendum noteworthy item, do we have the number on deployments or utilizations of Narcan for the month?
I actually just had a conversation about that within the past few days about tracking that, how many times it's deployed on how many different individuals. So we'll start presenting that. I would estimate that in the 18 months that we've had Narcan in the facility, approximately 18 months, I would say it's upwards of 25 to 30 times that we've deployed it. Now, I also want to give the caveat that it's anytime somebody's acting kind of unresponsive, you know, we are deploying Narcan, and it may not actually be an overdose issue because there's no risk to deploying Narcan when it's not needed. But if you have, for instance, a couple of months ago we had somebody who actually ended up having a brain tumor, but he was acting all loopy and so forth. We deployed Narcan, sent him out to the hospital, found out he actually had a brain tumor. So not all Narcan deployments are are related to overdoses. I would say well over 90% of them are. But it has become sort of the default. Anytime somebody's not acting right, and they appear like they may be under the influence, even though there may be another medical cause, time is critical in those moments, so Narcan's deployed, and it may or may not have been needed.
If we're going to assert, as we do here in the second paragraph, that this is often related to when they come in, they've ingested it pre-search, then that's going to have to be a portion of the metrics that get tracked. Is
correct.
When
yes.
is it deployed for our benefit? Because
Yep.
that's a number I really want to know more about. How long has the additional staff searching security checkpoint been in place?
We set that up within about the past month.
It says random searches of all staff, but are we searching everybody, or are we just?
So there is we started doing different levels of staff searches a few years ago, where we would randomly set the checkpoint up. Now the checkpoint is present at all times. We have a little electronic device that's a randomizer. You press the button, it tells you either to pass or don't, go or no go. It is probably not practical for us at a shift change to search everybody coming in because we have to get people to their posts and relieve everybody. So it is a random percentage of people who are searched every time that they come into the facility. And that randomization is present 24 hours a day now.
Even at shift change?
Even at shift change.
Okay. And I said staff, but I meant all visitors.
Everybody.
Anyone coming in or out, visitors, staff.
If you come to visit, you'll press the button.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thank you. The Board of Mental Health referrals were 2 on the month. Those people, when they're referred to the Board of Mental Health, where are they physically held?
They're with us until the Board of Mental Health approves the referral, and those 2 are 2 people who the board accepted the referral.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a handle on this. Physically, are they in some kind of an isolation unit? They out of general population?
They're probably in our infirmary, more likely than not.
Okay, because the standard there is a danger to yourself or others, so they're
Correct.
acting out.
Yes. They'd be housed, we call it a house alone and rec alone status, which means we don't put somebody in their same cell, and when they're out, nobody else is out.
Okay. In the regional center wait list, these would be people who went to Board of Mental Health, were found a danger to themselves or others, and were referred to the state's regional center, which is for longer-term mental health care.
Correct. That wait list could include Board of Mental Health. It could also include people who are referred to the regional center for competency
I got
as
that.
well.
So where are these people held?
Probably in our infirmary while they're waiting.
Okay. So you got 9 there and you got 2 there. That's 11. What's the capacity of the infirmary?
I believe, so it's split into a couple different sections. I believe there's around 30 beds for men, and there are about 12 beds for women.
Okay, I just trying to get a handle on the backlog here, because regional center is not a place where we can get direct referrals and they take them ever. The concern with fentanyl, I've been in or around corrections as an attorney or a commissioner since the 70s, and contraband's always been a problem. Contraband's always been with us, different forms, usually drugs.
Right.
But it's something that is a constant thing. Is that right?
It is. When I first started in corrections, the big deal was people would stuff marijuana inside of a socket, tape it, and try and throw it into our rec yard.
Right.
And to be honest, I kind of long for those days at the moment when I have to compare it to fentanyl.
Right. So you do the best you can, but if I understand you correctly, we haven't lost anybody to a fentanyl overdose to date?
We have not, thankfully.
You do the best you can, but it seems to be, over this period of time that I've been dealing with it, just kind of this changing spectrum of, everything from cigarettes to controlled substances.
Correct.
Back to these folks who present with drug and alcohol detox. What do we do with that 190, 20% of the population?
So they are also in the infirmary.
I'm sorry?
They are also housed in our infirmary. They have there's a 5-day protocol and this is basically for alcohol and opioid withdrawals. There's different, I'm not an expert on the medications that they're given, but they're under close medical supervision for 5 days while whether either alcohol or opioids are detoxed from their system.
Any long-term, like a 30-day program for these people when they're in?
So we have an intensive outpatient treatment program, which is it is a 9-week, 10-hour-a-week program. And so if there's somebody who we know is going to be around sufficiently long enough to participate in that, we certainly try to push them in that direction.
And would this cover the misdemeanor and the felony population?
Anybody who stays there.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Borgeson.
Thank you. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning.
On the searches and on page 49, there's actually a little bit more detail of them. And if I remember correctly, 15 is probably one of the higher numbers of searches that we've done. And it's just because, again, we're finding more and more stuff. But it's unique stuff, actually. So I'm looking at this like the Cash App information.
Yeah, we have found that people use Cash App as a means to conduct
Their commissary?
No, they use that. If there's somebody who allegedly might have a source for a substance or something, they'll try and reach somebody in the community and say, hey, send this person $50 on Cash App. You know, that could be done that could be an extortion tactic, it could, an intimidation tactic. It could be, we've had a couple people that have, kind of been seemingly in the center of drug-related activities that we find a lot of Cash App information associated with. It is a means it's an easy means for people to transfer funds
So,
in the community. So it's not from our inmates to them directly. It's maybe calling a family member saying, hey, here's this person's Cash App information, send them this amount of money.
but how are you finding it on the
So we
incarcerated
find it written on pieces of paper that people write down the Cash App usernames.
So when they're having a video visit,
They could be talking about that on a video visit, or they could be using a phone call, or they could be sending it on a tablet text message. They have a variety of ways that they can communicate with their family members. And but it's usually what we're referencing here is actual physical pieces of paper where somebody's written down somebody's Cash App account name.
so with all of these things, I mean, because we don't have any contact visitation
We do
anymore.
not. No.
So obviously, when you're talking about an unknown white powdery substance being found,
Right. So it is either something that got in during the booking process that was not detected, something that we've digitized mail. We try to go through everything. We have body scanners. So that's why there are always risks
sure.
when you operate a correctional facility, and it's a large agency, and it only takes one person to be compromised to create a risk. So that's why we're stepping up the searches of whether it's contractors, staff members, volunteers, et cetera.
Right. So, well, and that's a good thing, but it's interesting that these new things that are being kind of found, the tattoo stuff's been around
Yep.
forever. I don't remember the battery.
That's part of tattooing. They kind of tear apart the batteries
And batteries from,
we have headphones radios that are sold on commissary.
okay. So maybe in a side conversation, we can have a little bit more discussion on policy and procedures that we might want to look at. But I do agree that the increased searches, because of the stuff we're finding and the increased stuff we're finding, unfortunately is needed.
Absolutely.
But good job, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the director's report for corrections? If not, we'll conclude the report. Thank you, Director Myers, and I will take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Morgan, second by Rogers. Please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We will now go into the Douglas County Board of Commissioners meeting. Roll call.
Commissioner Borgeson. Commissioner Kavanaugh. Commissioner Fahey. Commissioner Friend. Commissioner Morgan. Commissioner Rogers. Mr. Chair.
Here. First item of business are items 1A and B. A being the approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held Tuesday, March 11th, 2025, and B being the approval of claims submitted for payment process through Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second? Motion by Rogers, second by Morgan. Please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Next, we have our consent agenda, items A through M. Do we have a motion and a second for discussion? Motion by Rogers, second by Morgan, and I will go to Commissioner Borgeson.
Item M pulled for just learning more about what this is.
Okay, we will take M separately and first discuss A through L. Is that okay to just a motion? To do that? Okay, very good. So we are discussing consent agenda A through L. Any questions or comments on those items first? If not, we'll vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We'll now take up item M on the consent agenda to make official an interlocal agreement between the Douglas County Sheriff's Office and Metro Community College of Omaha to provide and manage a youth and family engagement specialist for the MCC Fast Track Micro Credential Program. I know we have Sheriff and others that might speak to this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for considering my request for some brief comments on this. We're very, very proud and happy that we can present this MOU to you today. You know, often we hear people discussing what can law enforcement do, not just to address the crime challenges today, but also be an active part of helping to solve the problems further upstream. And just to give you a quick look back, so in 2023, the Douglas County Sheriff's Office partnered with Avenue Scholars and Metropolitan Community College. We had identified funding to put 2 cohorts of young people, system-involved young people ages 17 to 24, through 2 different MCC micro-credentialing courses. One was a cell phone repair course, and the other one was a basic construction skills course. That was successful. We did see all 14 of these people exit the training successfully. However, we did learn from that pilot that because we did not have a fluid case management model after that the young people that did get into employment did not stay with employment. And so from there, the discussions continued. We realized that there needed to be a more robust case management individual that could not only ensure that young system-involved young people, teens, later teens, and young adults not only have the strong foundation to be prepared to successfully enter these MCC micro-credentialing courses, of which they're very diverse. It's construction, it's information technology, it's medical, and these micro-credentialing courses are very short. Some of them are only 4 to 6 weeks in duration. But upon graduation, they have great salary potential that they can move into these industries. What we realized is we needed better case management, not only to work with the young folks and their families, but to work with their system-involved groups, whether it's juvenile probation, adult probation, diversion, parole, Douglas County Corrections, public schools for expelled youth. And so that's where this concept was born. Luckily, City Councilman Ron Hugg was willing to dedicate $50,000 of his district's community grant funding towards the salary for year one of this youth and family services specialist, which will serve as that case manager role. Metropolitan Community College will finish the salary, but ultimately they will answer to the sheriff's office because we are that central hub, the best central hub for not only the system-involved young people, but also for the various supervision entities that surround these young people in their life. And so this MOU was an important step of getting that $50,000 worth of funding directly from the city to the county. Because minus this MOU, the city could have only provided it to Metropolitan Community College, and Metro Community College could not be a pass-through to the county for us to employ this individual. And so, again, it's been a long time in the coming. We're very happy to be here, and I will tell you this, I'm proud that county government is at the front end of this, this new pilot project, phase 2 of this pilot. We've got the attention of some pretty heavy hitter stakeholders, the Department of Education, the State Chamber of Commerce. So hopefully what we do here can be duplicated around the state and potentially around the region if it works as we suspect it will. I will tell you we're down to 3 highly qualified candidates with exceptional resumes. We're in the background phase now, and we look forward to hiring this Youth and Family Outreach Services case manager and start this project full force. With us today is Todd Hansen from Metropolitan Community College and Tammy Green, who's also the Executive Director of Community and Workforce Development and Education. So if you had any specific questions for them, they'd be available. But I'll also take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Sheriff. Let me go first to Commissioner Borgeson.
What's the salary going to be?
I believe Chief Wren might have the pay scale, but I do believe that the minimum of the pay scale is $28 an hour, and I do believe it tops out in the low 30s.
And the $50,033 that Metro's paying covers everything for
It
1
does.
year? What happens after 1 year?
We can reassess. We can either look for additional funding sources and reassess the program at that time.
So but the person being hired understands this is a grant
It's a grant-funded
funded, and
position.
so it could go away after that first year.
Yes.
Okay. And then, you're calling it YES, which is confusing, because when I first read this, I thought it was Youth Emergency Services in the community, the shelter, the nonprofit, yes?
This was
Or is that not what you're calling it?
That's not. It's a, this is the job description in which county HR assisted us in developing. And I believe that it is patterned after the youth and family engagement specialist position that you would see maybe in Douglas County Youth Center as well. So we just tried to pattern it after a similar job description that already exists in county government. If the acronym YES is confusing, I for one didn't put it on this line. We'll never use it again if it's confusing though.
That's not the name of the program, I guess, is what my point is, because there's already a program called YES
Yeah,
out
we don't
there.
want to confuse the program with the already existing YES program.
Okay. And then, can you just talk a little bit more about what is micro-credentialing?
Sure. The Metropolitan Community College has kind of been on the forefront. They realize that not every young adult or every young person has the ability to engage in 2 years of a traditional associate's degree. And so they have worked with local industry in order to identify specialized training, which will meet the needs of local employers. Again, whether it be in specialized type of technology training, specialized type of manufacturing training, specialized type of healthcare training, so that in a time period of anywhere from 4 weeks to 7 weeks, that a young person can achieve a certified credential, which gives them a marketable job skill despite not having a 2-year traditional associate's degree. And so the hope is that, especially for some of these system-involved young people that we know do not have the typical attention span for a 2-year associate's degree, it may be more difficult to keep them engaged for 2 years as they work towards a marketable job. These micro-credentials are being geared specifically for that type of population, with the hope that once they get into the workforce, they can continue their education down the road and maybe achieve that associate's degree.
And it's age 17 to 24?
Yeah, we targeted that age range in the pilot program because we don't want to start too young and provide a young person with a marketable micro-credential only to know they can't really go into the workforce. So 17's at the lower end because we know they're nearing high school graduation, nearing age 18, and we're targeting that age range of 17 to 24. On the low end, in anticipation of them being close to the age of being full-time employed.
My time's up. I'll come
Oh, I'm
back.
sorry.
Thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thank you. And thanks for this. I think the folks at Metro do a great job with the category of young people that, maybe they're not going to get a bachelor's or a master's or a PhD, but our community needs a whole array of services. And I've toured Metro. We've had kids in the family in Metro, and they teach things that you're not going to get at UNO or Creighton or, at a regular four-year university that are needed in our community. So kudos on this. The credential that we're talking about the standard credential that they issue is associate degree. It's kind of a 2-year degree. So this micro is some subset of that, is that correct?
Yeah, for example, in the pilot project, the young people in our first cohort achieved a micro-credential in mobile device repair. And so that is an international credential that can be taken anywhere in the nation. Cell phone repair, changing a cell phone screen, changing a battery, doing lower level technical work on a mobile device. But what we found, even more importantly than that, is especially for this particular targeted population, we have to have someone that can help overcome their challenges on transportation and housing and maybe sobriety or other type of mentoring. So it's not just the job skill, but it's that overall healthy soft skills to get them marketable.
Okay. Regarding transportation, we have, 2 or 3 campuses. One is in Elkhorn. The Metro Area Transit bus service does not go to Elkhorn, to the Metro Community College campus in Elkhorn. I just throw that out there because somebody should do something about that. Public transport is something that the city invests a lot of money in and we all rely on. Not having it go to one of our public campuses is really kind of missing the whole point of public transportation.
Transportation is definitely a challenge. That's going to be the other benefit of having the central hub case manager. Because then we can go to these other groups that supervise these system-involved young people and say, we see a consistent failure in a transportation plan.
Yeah, like the buses
and
don't
then-
go to the campus.
Right.
I'm just being very specific on this because that's something that, should be addressed. And I know the people at Metro have a lot of challenges, and this is one thing that I would urge them to bring up. I just want to, kind of end with an example, a personal example of what a great job Metro does. And like I said, we need people all over the spectrum. We need plumbers, we need carpenters, we need people to fix things. One of the kids in our family was not going to college, didn't want to go to college. He wanted to fix cars. And so he went to Metro for a couple of years, auto mechanics thing there. subsidized by a local car dealer who wanted him to work in their garage. He got out, works at the car dealership, and bought his own house. He was 19 years old, youngest kid in the family to buy a house. These are the kinds of people that we need to encourage and help. And what you're doing on this program, I think, is a great step towards helping, the really ones that could turn their whole life around at 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, just with a little encouragement and help. So kudos for doing this, and I congratulate Metro for stepping up and doing this as
They're
well.
great partners.
Thank you. We'll go to Commissioner Fahey.
I'll withdraw.
Thank you. Commissioner Borgeson?
Okay, I just have a few more questions on, so you didn't talk to Kim Havacati or Rondi Woodward, although if you're going 17 to 24, that's pretty limited number of youth. It's more correction. Did you talk to Mike Myers or anything about this? And the only reason I ask is because we're always accused of not talking and working with people on these issues. And so it seems that, and I'm only asking the questions because it's not that I'm not in support of the program. I guess I should have said that in the beginning. What I am concerned about is we're setting something up in the sheriff's office that has no link whatsoever to any of the stuff that we're doing as a county board when it comes to juvenile alternatives. Unless there was conversations that I don't know about. That's the only thing I'm asking, because if you're out there doing something on your own with the youth that we're supposed to be serving and there's no coordination, how's it gonna be assessed? How are we gonna know whether or not, when it's over, is it good
Sure.
to
There has
continue?
there has been conversations, many of which have been informal, because we've been waiting to ensure that the funding would come through.
With our staff?
Yes, informal conversation. I've had conversations with Kim about it. We've had conversations with, just again, informal, nothing formal, because we were waiting for the funding. But also, another important part of this is that Metropolitan Community College is working on securing funding to have the UNO Juvenile Justice Institute do research and work on best practices parallel to this effort. And so, although one challenge that we did have in the lead up to this is that we weren't sure that the city money was going to come through. That did come through here very recently. And so after this MOU is in place, now comes the time to really start to tighten up the formal discussions about what this position will make available to our various partners. And I would add also, the sheriff's office has a unique role in that all of these supervision entities, juvenile probation, adult probation, whether it be adult corrections on the state level or a county level, we do have overlap with all of these entities. And I do think that it makes for a good central hub for this case manager position.
Well, I don't know, because I don't know enough about it, but can you get you said you did this program in 2023 with Avenue Scholars in Metro?
We did.
Is there like an evaluation report of those individuals that we could read?
Sure, I could speak with Gary Gerard. I'm sure that they did he's with Metro, spearheads the micro-credentialing effort. I'm sure we could pull together whatever you need.
Well, and the only other thing, again, is conversation and going through stuff, I'm running out of time again, that taking it through our Child and Youth Committee would have seemed more appropriate than having it on a consent agenda, which isn't, again, it's just, this is kind of big, and we're voting on something that we know really not a whole lot about. And so I guess I want to figure out how we're going to have those conversations about the program as it progresses through this year, blend into what we're doing with our youth, which, again, it might be also corrections because it's 17 to 24. Thanks.
We want to be a resource to those partners.
Thank you. I'll take a quick round here. First, hello to my friends at Metro Community College. You got two former MCC board members on this board, and so we're definitely fans of everything MCC does. Just to a little bit to piggyback slightly off of Commissioner Borgeson, and also just to help us understand the motions and the youth that are actually worked with and the young adults that will be worked with. I don't think, and I'm just assuming here, you're not necessarily looking to like become a referral service to like a judge. This is like a case manager / sheriff's staff member that if they have an interaction with a youth in the community, they're the ones that are going to try to be that liaison to, you know, a micro-credential program, see if the youth is interested, see if they can be connected. Is that more the scenario?
Yeah, I anticipate it'll work like this, that this youth and family engagement specialist, case manager, will go to the various other system partners and say, we have a good pass-through with Metropolitan Community College. These are the different micro-credentialing pathways that are available. If you have young people in your various programs, whether it's state, county, local, school district, that can meet these criteria, if you can help us to establish that they have a transportation plan, that they have stable housing, we have the funding through MCC to be able to get your young person into these micro-credentialing programs. And then we will also help you to problem solve, ensuring that they are successful once they graduate, moving into the employment realm. I think they will serve more as a resource to these various system players that touch these young people to kind of make that easy roadmap to help them be successful in the workforce.
Thank you. And just out of curiosity, is this staff member like a deputized individual or a civilian kind of staff member?
Civilian.
Okay, gotcha. Very good. Yeah, that helps quite a bit. Thank you for that. And we'll go to a third 2-minute round with Commissioner Borgeson.
So there's no county dollars involved in this?
In terms of the salary and the benefits for year one, that is going to be covered between the City of Omaha and Metropolitan Community College
So no county dollars.
for salary and benefits.
What's the expense otherwise?
Well, obviously, I will have to supervise them. We'll have office space, probably a computer, a cell phone, just ancillary items that we would provide to any employee that needs to be available and responsive to us or to stakeholders.
How many are going to be served? How many young people?
The early anticipation is that they will carry a caseload of roughly 25 because we want them to really be able to focus on these young people and the people in their lives.
Do they have to have a high school diploma?
They do have this position. They do.
No.
The
kids
youth?
Or
It all depends on what the minimums for Metro are in terms of who can enter those micro-credentialing coursework. And I do think that Metro, they prefer a GED. I also think they do have options to help students complete their GED or high school diploma equivalent while they are also in micro-credentialing.
Well, now that you said the county dollars and we don't know how many, I'm getting a little bit,
That's not what I said, Commissioner.
More.
Repeat what you think I said and I'll
you said,
clarify.
I asked you if there were no county dollars, and you didn't say no.
I said for wages and
You
benefits.
said, except for wages and benefits.
Right. The wages and
So
benefits are
w-
covered.
So the amount of county dollars that are going to be expended for this particular program for 1 year through your budget is what?
I don't have an exact dollar amount on what a cell phone or a computer that we may already own would be, or the equivalent value of office space across the street at the annex, but I would say it would be minimal compared to the funding that would cover wages and benefits.
Well, okay, I know I'm out of time.
Sorry,
I just
Commissioner,
wish this
yeah.
could be laid over.
Yep. Yeah, the clock started at 4, but it should have been 2.
I know.
Yeah. Commissioner Fahey.
sense of, at the risk of sounding exceedingly clueless, are we voting to allocate county funds at this time on this agenda item?
Yes.
Is that a question for the chair?
I'll let the sheriff clarify. I don't believe there's a actual allocation. It would be a utilization of current resources.
This is simply a memorandum of understanding, an interlocal agreement to allow for the formalization of the relationship between the county and MCC so that we can receive the funding from the city of Omaha and Metropolitan Community College to cover the wages and benefits for this individual and start the program.
And is that the, Sheriff, again, this might not be the question for you, so is that the 50,000 on the agenda, on agenda item M?
The 50,000 is what the city of Omaha will be contributing from Commissioner Hugg's
That's the
district
same
grant.
50?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
This MOU allows for that $50,000 to be dispersed to the county.
Okay, thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you. Commissioner Cavanaugh?
Again, I see this as a great example of collaboration between the county and Metro to help the youth. That there's a lot of talk about helping youth on this board. We spend millions of dollars on the 9th floor on grants that don't get a smidging of examination like this was. And I look forward now to take that example, to do a comprehensive look at all of the grants that we do. But the fact that you're willing to do this internally and assume whatever incidental cost there would be to the sheriff's office and collaborate with the city and Metro on this to help some kids, I think is a laudable thing. And we should do this without a long, drawn-out discussion of $50,000 here. Is it going to cover cell phones? Is it going to do this? Because we don't do any of that with the millions of dollars that we handle up on the 9th floor. And frankly, this might actually help some of the kids that currently are incarcerated at great expense to Douglas County, because despite the fact that we've had all these programs run out of the 9th floor for millions and millions of dollars and years, the average daily population of our youth center continues to stay very, very high. I think it's in the range of high 80s. And so what you're doing is something that I really laud and appreciate, and I hope we could see maybe in a year some of the metrics that have been talked about here. You know, how many kids have you talked to, helped, and what's happened to them? And I specifically would urge you to follow those kids, and so we see the actual results for a very, very modest expenditure of money. That's not even Douglas County money. And so thank you for bringing this to us, and I look forward to voting for the advancement of this very laudable project.
Thank you. Let me go to Commissioner Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, I was going to leave this alone, but just for the sake of somebody out here looking that doesn't have the whole story, I can't let some statements go unchallenged.
Sure.
This coalescing of 17 to 24-year-olds and tying it to the center, and $1 million saying money's unaccounted for. The exchange today answered some questions, and I look forward to see what happens. But people should know that there is no unaccounted for $1 million going out the door. I mean, matter of fact, you can tell where all that money's going. So I want to just make sure for the public that this is not used as a platform to spread some propaganda, as if other programs aren't working, and this isn't a whole nother realm. This is, to me, is a whole nother degree of young person and more geared toward job training and some other things than what has just been portrayed. So, I mean, I was going to leave this alone, but my soul would not let the misinformation be spread that seems to be taking place. Thank you.
Thank you. I will go to Commissioner Fahey.
Two quick questions. Are the youth that are going to be recruited, are they court involved as a rule, or?
No, I think the general definition of system involved, it would be a young adult or an older teen that is touching some type of challenged system, government system, whether it be diversion, adult or juvenile, maybe they're an expelled student, they're under some type of court supervision, they're under some type of state supervision. So that's really the goal, is to focus on these high-risk kids and young adults that we know otherwise are probably on a path to, at minimum, non-productive, non-healthy lifestyle, and at worst case scenario, prison or worse, felony charges. And to try to give them a quick way to transition into a viable existence with a marketable job skill.
Okay, and then just to go off Commissioner Kavanaugh's point, I know there's a mention in the MOU on quarterly reports from Metro. I'm assuming the board's going to be privy to those reports.
Yes.
So we can look at them. Great, thank you.
Thank you. For a third 2-minute round, Commissioner Kavanaugh? Good, thank you. Anybody else, including the public, on this matter?
Good morning, Larry Storr, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha 68132. Good morning, Mr. Rogers. Thank you, Sheriff. This is a very needed conversation, and I'm glad that he brought this to you, but I do want to have some cautions. None of your programs have worked successfully because of one primary factor. Well, maybe two. The primary one is the privacy laws. You're all afraid to talk to me because I might sue you. You're all afraid to share things in the counseling session that I sat in on with my grandson over all these years because I might sue you because I don't know more than you know. Well, the problem is I do know more than most of those people have known over all these years because I talk to my grandson. I play with my grandson. I share with my grandson. And I share the pain of being refused to be part of his system through all those years because the counselors and the caregivers, Mr. Rogers, don't want to listen to a grandparent. Grandparents in the state of Nebraska have no standing. So here we are to cut this short. I think Mr. Rogers ought to listen to this. All the money you spent over all these years, Mr. Kavanaugh has mentioned to us that best practices in all these programs have not been successful. Have you never really wanted to discuss why? Privacy laws is one, but we've got a nice program here. The intent of it is great, but some of the words are not great. Because people have time limits, people have best practices, concepts, but they don't really want to get to the meat of the matter. Now, the sheriff's office and deputies, they know the meat of the matter because they're on the street and they talk to these people. You people make the decisions, but you don't know. You've never discussed with the people that they do. And we've got how many mental illness people? County jail isn't for mental illness. My God, look at all these things you're building around Omaha for mental illness and children. The county jail isn't a place for that. Yes, it should help. But if they don't talk to the families and let the families share and you don't understand the families, you're creating an animal. Mr. Rogers doesn't want to share information. He doesn't want to listen. You people don't want to listen, and your rules say you will not talk or listen to people like me. That's one of the reasons that your systems have not been successful. Lack of conversation and understanding. You don't want to pay attention to me? I'm sorry, I was paying attention to you. And I don't think that's within the intent of the Open Meetings Act or the Constitution, Mr. Rogers. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on this agenda item. We did pull it off the consent agenda, but I think we jumped into dialogue before getting a motion and a second. So is there a motion and a second for this item? Motion by Friend, second by Kavanaugh. Last words on the item. Otherwise, we'll vote.
Oh, excuse me. Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We will now move to section 5 of the agenda, recognitions and proclamations. There's a special somebody we would like to recognize at this moment who's been patiently waiting. We will jump into resolution honoring County Board Administration of Office Manager Karen Cole upon her retirement from Douglas County. So we do actually have an official resolution here that we want to present to her. I'll go ahead and read it and then ask for a motion in a second. And the resolution says, whereas Karen Cole, Office Manager in the County Board County Administration Office, began her employment on September 19th, 2011. And whereas during her tenure as Office Manager, Karen Cole has been instrumental in improving the operations of the office in many ways, including coordinating several remodeling projects, acting as the Google guru for the rollout of Google in the office in 2013, implementing Zoom for county board meetings and committee meetings during COVID, and bringing all computer technology in the office up to date. And whereas Karen Cole has been instrumental in preparation of the annual budget for county administration and ensuring department expenditures are within budget. And whereas Karen Cole has worked collaboratively with key staff members in various county offices and departments and has been a valuable resource to them. And whereas Karen Cole will be retiring effective March 27th, 2025, and she will be greatly missed by her friends and coworkers in Douglas County. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Douglas County Board of Commissioners that this board hereby congratulates Karen Cole on her retirement, expresses its gratitude to her many years of valuable service to Douglas County government, and wishes her all the best for a happy and healthy future. Motion by Morgan, second by Borgeson. And I'll go to Commissioner Friend.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, Karen, I'll be brief. Bring Dave up. Folks, I've known Karen and Dave since 1997, before Bloomingdale even thought about coming anywhere near here. I think. Karen and I worked at First National Bank, and Dave was there too. I think probably together about 3 or 4 years, and then maybe 10 years total. And Karen is Karen's very strategic, and she's a very observant person. And let me tell you why. In July 23rd, 1998, I used to take the bus to work every day. I lived in Keystone, and I took public transit, and I'd get there early, and I'd usually leave late because I'm a great employee. And my wife was pregnant July 23rd, 1998. My wife was 9 months pregnant. And I took the bus downtown. Now, you can ask me why I would take a bus when my wife was 9 months pregnant. So she went into labor at about 9 in the morning. And I got a call, and I went to Karen's desk, and I said, Karen, I got to go home. My wife, Jackie, just went into labor. And Karen goes, let's go. And I go, well, what? I'm just going to take the bus. She goes, are you out of your mind? She goes, we're going. So Karen brought me home, dropped me off, and Jackie did get to the hospital. That little girl just had a baby last week.
Oh, congrats.
So Karen anticipated before I did. Karen, Dave, thanks for your friendship.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Chair.
We'll go to Commissioner Rogers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not going to try to find a lot to say. Karen, I'm gonna miss you. You've been my chauffeur for 3 months when I got hurt. and you were a smuggler for me when I was NACO president in regards to refreshments. You know, you knew what I wanted before I wanted it, and you know, I was confident when you made the choice you did for your replacement. But you know, all I can say is I'm gonna miss you.
Thank you.
Go to Commissioner Morgan.
I was going to ask Mike if Karen's the godparent of your new addition to your family. And somebody asked why he was taking the bus. He didn't pass the test on the driver's license. I know, got the records on that from the legislature. No, but Karen, thank you so much. And Dave, thank you for allowing us to have Karen. She's just a special, outstanding person, and I want you to enjoy your retirement each day. And I'm certain you won't stay retired that long, but hopefully you will.
I will.
Enjoy your motor home and
Yes.
some safe, great travels. And thank you for being here to help all of us.
Of course.
Commissioner Cavanaugh.
Thank you, Karen, for a million things, but I want to wish you and your husband happy trails in that Airstream.
Yes.
You're my hero. I really, really envy you. So keep us
Thanks.
posted on that, would you?
I
And
will.
coast-to-coast tours.
Absolutely.
And good luck. You've
Thank
earned
you.
it.
Thanks, Jim.
Commissioner Borgerson.
We talked before, and she said, don't make me cry,
Don't make me
because I'm
cry.
gonna just wave at y'all and say, see you later, but, you know, just thank you for who you are and what you've done. You know, she helped me too when I was NACO president, but bigger than that, you helped me during a time when Bob was going through cancer treatments, my folks. I had to become a caregiver, which you're understanding
Yep.
quite well right now. But you kept it all together and helping me too. We have our little powwows in my office about things. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate you and appreciate all that you've done for the county, but personally through the times that were pretty tough times for me. I could always count that you would be there for me. So thank you. Enjoy your retirement because you definitely deserve it.
Thank you.
And Dave, you definitely have a peach, and I hope she has a big honey-do list for you.
She always does.
But enjoy your travels too, because I know that's what you're going to be doing a
Yes.
lot of,
Yes.
and you deserve that.
Thank you.
And enjoy it, and just don't forget us, though. You know where to find us.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you.
Karen, a couple of us newbies only got to enjoy you for a short time, about 4 years for me, about 4 weeks for Commissioner Fahey, but a little bit longer. But thanks for always being, for me, work environment is really important. And the fact that you always had a smile on your face and were always just there to help and support no matter how busy you were, and just added to that positive ambiance in our office is super important. And so I thank you for that. And us newbies always have a lot of questions, so thank you for always answering those questions.
Thanks,
And
Roger.
I'm going to go ahead and get that vote so we can get a good picture with you.
Okay.
Oh, and Patrick, and then Mr. Clerk as well. Yep.
Okay, just a few comments real quick.
Oh, boy.
So Karen has been my right hand for the last 14 years, and really before that, when she came on board. And county administration is kind of like, in a lot of ways, the heart of the county. And, you know, a lot of times it does have blockages, and Karen's role is to make sure that those blockages get cleared and to provide support not only to me, but the county board, but also to departments and offices across the county. She helps with putting the budget together and just provides a resource to everybody. It's can be a very stressful environment, especially when she has to work for somebody like me, who's not the easiest person to work for. Sometimes my sense of humor can be very different, and you have to pick up on that. But she has amazing critical thinking skills. She has amazing attention, not only attention to detail, but the ability to see the bigger picture. which is important, to help keep people grounded, to help on tough issues, to see things from a different perspective, and also to be a confidant and to know that, to keep things confidential that need to be kept confidential. So we've got a great replacement in Kim Balo, and I'm excited for her to start. I mean, she started, but now to fly on her own. She got great mentorship from Karen. So again, thank you for all the years of keeping me straight and keeping me in line and organized. And I wish you all the best.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you. And I know Mr. Clark wanted to say a few words.
Dan Ash, Douglas County Clerk. Well, I think everybody covered everything, but Patrick kind of hit on the main point that I wanted to bring up, is that it's not just the commissioners and your other teammates in administration. You're also helping out basically people from every county department. And I'll miss having to, when we would get some interesting emails or phone calls that we'd have to, maybe it was supposed to go to you all or vice versa. So I suppose you probably won't miss those, but yeah. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, we'll go ahead and get that vote in and take a picture.
Motion passes 7-0.
All right, and yes.
Son is also on Zoom, so I just wanted to recognize that. I don't know if she noticed it, but Jackson is on Zoom as well. Okay.
Very good. And gentle reminder to commissioners and admin staff of the lunch at 12 for Karen. All right, so with that, we will go to recognition B, which is recognition of Mr. Wade Stevens, Jr., who worked for the Department of Corrections for 20 years. And I don't think Mr. Stevens is here today, so we just want to honor and thank him for his service to the community and to Douglas County for 20 years. And we'll get a motion in a second. Motion by Morgan, second by Borgeson. And we'll vote on that one.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. We now have 3 public hearings to conduct here under Section 7. The first public hearing is item A, a public hearing for Class C license for beer, wine, spirits on and off sale for Still Coventry LLC, DBA The Still, at 5606 South 204th Avenue in Elkhorn, 68022, with manager application for Aaron Weist. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I will now open the public hearing for this item.
Morning, members of the
Morning.
board. David Houghton on behalf of the applicant, the Still Coventry LLC. My address is 2804 South 87th Ave. The Still Coventry LLC is going to be located at 5606 South 204th Avenue in Elkhorn, Nebraska, 68022. I have the a member on behalf of one of the holding companies is here today, Jeff Jackson, and also the Still is going to be same in concept. If any of you have been in Lincoln, there's a location in southeast Lincoln. This is a new development. It'll be about 12,500 square feet. It's a part of a larger development that'll be approximately double in size. If you have any specific questions to the operations of the business, the manager in Lincoln who will be overseeing operations in Omaha is here to answer any of those questions. I can tell you that they will be open from the hours of 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., 7 days a week. And the reason we're applying for a set Class C liquor license is there will be some wine tastings on premises that will be conducted by the vendors. If any of you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Great. Thank you so much for being here. We'll go to Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thank you. This is going to be located exactly where?
5606 South 204th Avenue.
Okay. What's there now?
It's a new development. If you're familiar with it, there's a large movie theater out that way.
Okay.
There's some new buildings. There's a lot of population moving out in that direction, and this business just saw the opportunity to.
And that's inside the city of Omaha, right?
I believe we're here because it's outside the limits.
Okay. It says Elkhorn.
It does. You're right, but I believe that we're outside the city limits.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions on this matter? Commissioner Borgerson.
No, not a question, but just during the public hearing, I want to wish them good luck. There is a big boom out there. This is actually in my district, and drive out there quite often, and there is a big boom of business going on in houses and homes and apartments and whatever. So this fits right in with things that are popping up out there, and so good luck, and thank you for choosing us to do your development. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Otherwise, I will close the public hearing. What is the will of the board? Motion to approve by Borgeson, second by Morgan. Please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Thanks again for being here. We'll go to item B for under public hearings. Item B is a public hearing to be held regarding the advisability of the proposed issuance by the county of one or more series of industrial development revenue and refunding bonds on behalf of Creighton University. I will open the public hearing for this item. Was there anybody set to give a quick overview, Patrick, or go straight to discussion? Does anybody want to explain what an issuance bond is? What are we doing here?
Sure, Teresa, York
Yep.
County Attorney's Office, and I believe we also have some folks from Kutak Rock to speak as well. A conduit issuance bond is a bond that the county would issue as a conduit, kind of what it sounds like, as a conduit for certain nonprofits and private entities. We've done a number of these. It's probably been a year since we've seen one come through. It allows the bond to be tax exempt, so it allows a little bit better financing for the private entity. This particular bond is for Creighton University, and I'll turn it over to Kutak.
Josh Meyer, QTech Rock, 1650 Farnham Street. The action today is not actually by the board yet. We just need to hold a public hearing pursuant to federal tax law. That's the point of today's action. The actual county resolution will be taken up in 2 weeks, so that's the proposal we have. That is why we didn't want to mess with your time too much today. We just have to hold this hearing in connection with federal law. Again, the resolution for actual issuance of bonds, which we've done multiple times, will be in 2 weeks. Happy to answer any questions. We actually did this in 2 steps so that we could answer your questions, hopefully sail through next time. But as Teresa described, really just a conduit action by the county. The step today is just a public hearing that we need in connection with federal tax law.
Thank you. Commissioner Kavanaugh?
Just going through this, it's principal amount not to exceed $150 million to be used to make a loan to Creighton University. And then it goes on to say, it looks like to pay off in part $91,325,000 in previously issued bonds, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So the whole 150 is an authority, but it's not disposed of, at least in this document, except for the 91.
So there will be a new money component to the bond. The 91 is the refunding of the outstanding debt. The difference between the 150 and the 91 will be the new money component, which will be a new sophomore dorm at Creighton University.
Okay. Now, by refinancing the 91, do you capture a better interest rate?
There is the potential for that. There's a restructuring required around that debt, no matter what. There's a tender date associated with that debt. We may, but it's not the sole reason for the refunding.
Okay. Where's the dorm going to be?
On the campus. John, do you know, like, you can tell me if you want it.
It's just east of the dental school on Covey Street.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comment on this matter? Otherwise, I will go ahead and close the public hearing, and as mentioned, action will be taken at a later date. Thank you for being here. We'll go to item C, which is the transfer of budget dollars that are set aside in salary adjustment account for approved salary increases to all the departments mentioned on the final agenda, alongside provide additional budget dollars for budget increases with revenue offsets for Sheriff and Health Center as well via ARPA receipts from the state of Nebraska. I will open the public hearing for this item, and we'll get an overview from Lori.
Good morning, Commissioners. Lori Persh, Douglas County Finance Director. As you know, every year we set the budget for the fiscal year at the first meeting in July, so the first meeting of the fiscal year. And then in March, we do a budget supplement, a larger budget supplement, because it contains the salary adjustment for the year. And then in May, we do a smaller budget supplement if there are a few departments that need some dollars just to make it across the finish line, just to get through June 30th. So I will walk you through those today. I'm going to walk you through it in three parts. So the biggest part of the March budget adjustment is always the salary adjustment. So we'll talk about that first. Then we'll talk about unfunded budget supplements, and then the funded budget supplements. So the funded ones are ones where there's a revenue offset. They'd like an increase in their budget, but it's because they got a grant or whatever else. So we'll start with, and on the last page of your board books is the public notice that has to go out in the daily record, so you can kind of follow that along with the presentation here. Did I use the mouse? Hold on one second. It's not going. I'll just use the mouse. Okay. Oh, now it works. Okay. All right. So the budget supplement here, the first section, if you look at the bottom here, talks about the salary adjustments. And these are, every year when we do the budget in the spring, we put in an estimate of 3% for salary increases. Obviously, the budget's passed in July. The board actually sets the increases for the next calendar year. So the budget is fiscal year, the salary increases are calendar year. So we make a guesstimate. We put in 3%. If the board decides on that last meeting in December to do something higher than 3%, then we have some dollars set aside in the salary adjustment fund so that we can make those adjustments as necessary. This year, the total that was needed, and this covers the amount for the non-union employees as well as labor increases, and some of those are retroactive, so it's kind of all-inclusive here. In total, that was $3.3 million, roughly, $3,297,439. We had set aside in the budget $2.5 million, so we needed a little extra in the salary adjustment fund. We had put $2.5 million, so we needed a little extra. I'm going to flip it to the next page. You can see the first unfunded adjustment there is $825,000, just to add a little bit more to the salary adjustment fund so we could cover the full $3.3 million. So this slide and the next slide are the two that have the unfunded budget adjustments, budget supplements, and the last slide will be the one that has the funded. So these are general fund. The first adjustment being the salary adjustment fund, which we just talked about. We had to increase that just a little bit to cover, as the board approved in December, something a little bit higher than the 3% due to inflation and due to just the negotiations for the labor contracts. In addition to the salary adjustment fund increase, we had to increase the budget for the district court and the county court. There was an increase in attorney fees from $80 to $125. That's a rate that's set. That's for court-appointed attorneys. So that was $550,000 for district court and $158,000 for county court. The next line item is employee fringe. So obviously when salaries are higher, then the payroll taxes are going to be higher. The amount that has to be contributed for pension is higher, all of these other things. So that's about $3 million this year. We had a similar adjustment last year of 2.8 or 2.9 million. So I am going to actually budget that a little bit higher this year to make sure that we can don't see such a sizable adjustment for employee fringe. The last one on unbudgeted that would affect the general fund is $260,461 for the sheriff. That is $100,000 for comp payouts and $160,461 for 4 new deputies just for the first 6 months of this calendar year, which is the last 6 months of this fiscal year. All right, this page is unfunded adjustments, but these ones are not general fund. These are other funds. So there's an increase in, how do I get this part minimized? It's covering my numbers here. Like this? Yep. Okay, got it, sorry. So an increase in a higher than anticipated direct client aid. So we had to bump up the budget for community services, general assistance. The employee medical insurance fund, we had to increase by $415,000. There was part of that was higher than anticipated claims, but there was also a big chunk of that. I just did that direct pay. I want to say roughly half of that. That was a settlement of a lawsuit with FOP 8. And the last part is the Register of Deeds Modernization Fund, $177,000. This is to be used for the RealWare CollectWare software update. We had passed the budget last year, and there were not dollars in it at the time for this software update. This is for the mainframe that's being used in the treasurer's office that needs to be updated. And then there's similar software. That's the CollectWare piece of it. The RealWare is the piece that the assessor's office uses, and then those two systems will work together. They're both by Harris Govern. It's the name of the vendor. The last piece is the budget adjustments, the funded budget adjustments. So the first one is Douglas County Health Center, $363,516. That was a state ARPA award that could only be used for employees at the health center for pay increases. It was very, very specific. So we received those dollars and they paid those out to their staff. Grants and projects administration. These are various grants, and I don't have the specifics of that, so if anyone has questions, I'm hoping that there's someone here, or I can answer those questions for you after, but these are all fully funded. So there's $1.2 million here of additional budget dollars that they're requesting to expend, but they have revenue offsets for them. And same with that last line item, Douglas County Sheriff, there is $145,308 of grants that have been awarded after the budget was adopted that they are seeking your approval to spend. So I think that is it. Any questions?
Thank you, Lori. We'll go into discussion, starting with Commissioner Kavanaugh.
Thanks for this. Just one quick one on this last page where we have grants and project administration, various grants awarded after the budget was adopted, 1.195 million. Could you give us a little more detail on that?
I wish Kim Cavacati was here because I don't know. Is there anyone online from grants and projects that could speak to? Oh, Kim, you're online. Kim, can you speak to what those are? That was added sort of at the 11th hour here.
Sure. Kim Havakati, Deputy County Administrator. These grant funds were grants that were received after the budget was approved from last year. So they are federal grant money and state grant money that was received after July 1st of 2024. We need to get it into the budget. This is not costing the county anything. This is a reimbursement basis. That's why it has to be put into the budget, but the feds are reimbursing that entire amount.
And I think I looked in the backup documents as well for an itemized breakout of these. I couldn't see it there. Could you send us that, Kim, so that we could see, what is the breakout on the 1.1 million in terms of these grants? What's going for what,
Sure, I can put that together, Commissioner Kavanaugh, and working with the clerk's office. Some of it is getting everything set up in the Oracle system. So we will work together and put something together for you.
Okay. Bottom line is, from what you're saying, this is an authorization of transfer of monies that do not come from Douglas County taxpayers.
Correct. Correct.
Thank you.
Thank
And-
you. Oh, go ahead, Laurie.
I was going to say, I do have a list from Chief Wren for the 145,308. I can share that with you guys if you have questions of all the grants that total that. There's, I don't even know, probably a dozen of them, and a lot of them are small dollars, so you probably don't want to go through each one. If 5,000 to 20,000.
You'll share that with us.
Other comments or questions on this item? If not, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. Action can be taken today. What is the will of the board? Oh, I'm sorry, Larry, did I miss you? Go ahead, Larry.
Very quick. Larry Store, 5015 Lafayette Avenue, Omaha, 68132. I'm not the only person that has asked this, but I'd like to have a large conversation sometime about what happens if the current administration in D.C. says that ARPA funds are no longer realistic and possibly misused, so they want their money back through a process called clawback. How will you answer the people that are no longer going to get that money? And how will you collect money to repay something that they may ask for back because it was not given to the purposes it was designed for? Thank you.
Thank you. If no one else, I will close the public hearing. What is the will of the board? Motion to approve by Rogers. Second by Friend. We'll vote.
Motion passes. Commissioner Borgeson voting no, all other commissioners voting yes.
Thank you. We will now go to Section 8, Committees. Under Finance, we have our budget report as presented. Under HR, we have the weekly personnel report from Civil Service, also as presented. We do have a need for executive session for the purpose of labor negotiation. Do I have a motion, a second? Motion by Rogers, second by Friend to go into executive session. Please vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. The board will now go into executive session for the purpose of labor negotiation.
Motion by Commissioner Borgeson to reconvene and adjourn, second by Commissioner Fahey. Motion passed 7-0. The meeting adjourned at 11:27 a.m.